Hello, Angie Gerber here, and welcome to my podcast, Awareness. Once you know, you can't unknow. A place you can come to start thinking and shifting your thoughts to finally create the results you truly, truly desire. It'll shift your mindset and give you strategies to get out there and get it done. Let's get started. All right, here we are at week 10 of week 12, or 12 weeks, I should say, of your goal setting workshop. And today is going to be all about leadership. And this is a really good one because this reframed my way of thinking about leadership and kind of what I was taught and what I really became to know is true. So, what I want to talk about right away with leadership is going back to, when you were a kid and thinking about who was the leaders and who were the followers. So I know Napoleon Hill says it really well when he talks about, broadly speaking, he said there are two types of people in the world. One part or one type is known as the leaders, and the other type are known as the followers. And the difference between the two in compensation is huge. So looking at today, in today's world, and even as you were growing up, the leaders, would you say, got paid and compensated vastly different than those of their followers. And so thinking about that, how can you elevate yourself and your business to show up as more of a leader versus a follower and an expert, I should say. So thinking about followers, you see, when I was growing up, I had a really negative thought process, or it just followers, quit following me. Who are you following? Figure it out yourself. That was always what I was told. Or, if you went one way and wanted to follow someone, either they got frustrated potentially, or someone around you would make fun of you or say different things. I don't know if that was your experience, but that was definitely mine. And my belief was you had to figure it all out yourself and tread your own path and cut your own way. And as I've grown up, it's not that true, and it's not actually true at all. You see, to be an exceptional leader, to be a really great leader, you first need to be a really great follower, an intelligent follower. And so that's where I talk about finding someone that's doing what you intend to do and hooking your cart to that horse and figuring out and following people and understanding what people are doing and how they're showing up that are doing what you intend to do. So, I imagine there is someone out there right now that is doing exactly, maybe not exactly, but pretty much to the T of what you intend to do or want to do. So why create the will? Why start from scratch, especially when today there's information shared everywhere? I mean, think about it. Information now is shared from the top down. Go to YouTube, go to Google. You can find just about anything that you want or need to either learn, to do. I know my husband loves YouTube. He fixes cars, he fixes other things. He can, he was out of town and I needed to know how to start one of the machines. So I YouTubed it. I watched a video, boom, done. So just know that everything is out there already and that a good leader has people following them because these people want to follow them. So going back to YouTube, who do you follow on YouTube? People that are doing what you intend to do, they're inspiring you, they are good at what they do, and they lead with excellence and are showing you value. So that's how you can show up in your business as a true good leader. And if you don't have those skills, find someone that does. and believe in them and believe in their message, and then make that your own, because that should be the goal of a good leader, is finding people that want to follow them for the right reasons, and in the energy they show up and how they give back. It's just so amazing when you find those people that inspire you for the right reasons because of their leadership, and know that they started somewhere differently. Every single one of the people that are in the top 1 to 3 to 5% did not start there. They too were intelligent followers until they figured this out. And now they're giving back and helping other people figure it out as well. It's so beautiful. So every business organization, whether it's big or small, needs a leader. I mean, think about your life even, and the groups you're in, where you volunteer, your family, your friends. There's usually that one person that shows up in the leadership role. And all of these attributes that are on the screen, it says good example, you're encouraging, clear communication, support, vision, recognition, inspiring, you have integrity, clear goals. All of those are really great things. And I want you to think about leadership. And if you've been in a company, or if you've been around, different organizations where they talk about having to raise morale, we got to raise morale, we got to get people in gear and fired up and all these things. Well, Bob Proctor, my first mentor, he said, you don't raise morale. It comes from the top down. It comes from good leadership. So think about that. Think about good leadership and what that looks like to you. And maybe, I'm thinking back to a company I worked at or a team that I was on. The morale of the team or the company or the organization or your family really comes from the top down and building that environment. So how can you raise morale by starting at the leadership level, whether it's you being the boss, you being the hierarchy in the family, the friend group, the volunteer? Add to the organization and figure out how to raise morale, but coming from the top down, not from the bottom up. It's a game changer. And I love this quote by Chris Hagerty. The goal of most leaders out there, probably 80 to 90% of leaders, and what we've been taught, is to get people to think really highly of them as a leader. That's where the ego comes in. You have to show up at a certain light and a certain level and have these people that love you, maybe for the wrong reasons. And he goes on to say that the goal of the exceptional leader is to get people to think highly of themselves. So most leaders want their followers to think highly of them as a leader, but the true leaders, the exceptional leaders, want to get their followers to think highly of themselves and help them, get them from where they are to where they want to be, pour into their goals and see them, hear them, and let them know that by how they make them feel. So ask yourself, what type of leader are you in your business as you're doing these goal settings, as you're doing business planning? Look at it in your family, in your relationships, in your friendships, because every day we're all leading to a certain degree. And I think we can definitely agree on that. So what type of a leader are you? Are you the type of leader where when things are going wrong, you react versus respond? You fly off the handle? How do you demonstrate yourself when the situation gets tough, whether in a family, with coworkers, with friends? Are you responding versus reacting? Are you flying off the handle? You're being impulsive. Think about that. Are you blaming others? Or are you showing up and being solution-based? Are you seeking to understand, find the good, You're looking for the best outcome. You're going right into responding versus reacting. Because the truth is, no one wants to follow a leader who lacks emotional intelligence, that just, can't control their own emotions. People want someone who's going to show up in control and show up confident and show up with an even better attitude when things have really hit the fan, when things are not going well. That's really where leaders separate themselves. Really good leaders separate themselves from average leaders or not so good leaders, because it's how they show up when things are going bad and the attitude they have and how they lead when adversity happens. That's where true leaders really, really shine. And that's where, if you look back and you think back to some leaders that you've had, that you've intelligently followed, because I know I've had leaders that I've intelligently followed in the past. What attributes did they have that were so strong? They had courage when they needed to have courage in certain situations, self-control. They didn't freak out when maybe that's all I wanted to do. I always learned from them. They had a really good sense of justice and what needed to be done, what was right and what was wrong. They knew how to make decisions. You always felt like you were in good hands, that their decision making wasn't wasn't what mine was, because again, I was intelligently following and learning how they made really good decisions and watching them, and then able to up my game. They're pleasant people. You don't want to work for a jerk. You don't want to be partnered with. You're not going to follow someone that you don't like, or that isn't, understanding and sympathetic, or sees you as a person and not a number or not a body or someone that's just going to fill a role. They have detail. They understand that the beauty is in the details, and understanding even more about the business and about you. They always assume responsibility. Responsibility comes from the top down. If a company is failing, you look to the leadership. You don't look to the people. It's all comes from the top down. Morale, responsibility, whether things are going good or bad. You'll want leadership in place that are going to take responsibility for it, find the good, find the solution, and get into action. And cooperation. You want someone that's going to cooperate with you, your vision, your values, that you can go to and grow with. It's just, I think back to some of the most amazing people that were mentors of mine before I even knew what a mentor really was, and how they showed up in. I think one of the things that was the biggest for me as I left my career and started in real estate was having leadership that saw in me what I didn't yet see. It's almost like having someone that can see in your future and hold that bigger vision of you and hold that energy for you, so that you can step into that person. And it's such a gift when you find a leader like that, that sees you for who you are becoming and who you are in the future versus who you are in this very moment, because we're all meant for expansion. And having someone that will hold that space and that energy for you, it's just a gift that you cannot buy. You cannot put a price on it, that's for sure. And a lot of people talk about the opposite of courage is fear, and that is not the case. The opposite of courage is not fear. The opposite of courage is conformity. It's when you conform and you don't act on courage. You don't listen to your intuition. You don't take chances. When we talked about fear versus faith, you choose fear and staying the same. You don't want to rock the boat. You care too much what other people think about you. You stay in line. Do as you're told. You conform. So having courage and stepping out and doing something that's been knocking on the door or that just keeps coming up over and over and over again instead of conforming, that's courage. Because you feel the fear and you do it anyway. And that will separate you and bring you very quickly from the 80 to 90% of people that conform and do what they do all day long every day because that's what they do. And they probably don't even know really why they're doing it. It's not hard to win because so many people are unwilling to step out. They'd rather conform and stay where they're at. Do more as a leader. Do more right now where you're at to become a better leader. See, I say the law of compensation, which we talked about before, is the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there is in replacing you. Those three things, the need, ability, and the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty in replacing you. So you'll never outgive a giver. So as a leader or from where you're at today, think about that. Think about how you can be better, how you can give more to the people around you, the people that you work with, your family, your friends, all of it. Show up in every aspect and area of your life and you give. Give like you've never given before. If you're in a 9-to-5 job, do more than you're paid for, and you'll be paid for more than you do. It's just amazing. And you have to start from where you're at. So as we wrap up today, I really want you to just reflect as you're planning and goal setting and business planning. Think back to some really amazing leaders that you've had. And going back to a few slides back to this list of courage, self-control, keen sense of justice, definiteness, you can make a decision, you're pleasant, great personality, you have sympathy and you understand, good detail, you take responsibility, especially when things aren't going right, and cooperation. Think about some of the past leaders that you've intelligently followed and pick one of these things that you want to start strengthening right away. Maybe you kind of go back and forth and you're just not a very strong decision maker. What would it look like if you made decisions much quicker? Because when things are going wrong, you want someone in place that can make a definite decision and start moving forward right away. Maybe that's one of them. Maybe you need some more self-control. You need to work on responding versus reacting. I know I was very reactive until I figured this out. And now when triggers come up, it's taking a moment and giving the space to respond versus react. So then I take my power back instead of giving it away. So think about it. Think about where you want to start and where you want to, level up right away and just continue to level up over and over and over again. And your business will thank you. Love it. Well, I really appreciate you all showing up today and look forward to next week with week 11. As usual, follow, subscribe, comment below. I'd love to get this information out to as many people as I can. And let me know how the business planning is going, how go get your goals. This 90-day sprint is changing your life, what you're learning, any ahas. I'd love to hear from all of you and look forward to next week. And in the meantime, nothing changes if nothing changes. So go make a change. Thanks for spending some time with me today. And if you like what you heard, feel free to share, like, subscribe, follow, do whatever it is you do. I'd love to get this out to as many people as possible because it truly all does start with awareness. Once you know, you cannot unknow, and it changes everything. And of course, if I can help in any way, I'm here and happy to do so. Until next time, make it a good one.